my name's Nile. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and I'm a chemistry pre-med major. And basically the reason I wanted to become an ambassador was just because I saw it as an opportunity to really kind of alleviate the stereotypes and the pressures that exist among diverse people I wanted to basically help create a better space for diverse people. And my decision to become one is pretty much informed by my past experiences. So, growing up as an African American, beginning when I was in about, I want to say fourth grade, I really didn't deal too much with other kinds of people. It was just a black community, a black school. And it's kind of funny, I didn't really have a close friend who was of a different race until probably sixth grade. Sixth grade is actually when I ended up moving. Around that time, I ended up moving to a suburb outside of Columbus called Gahanna, and it's definitely a predominantly white area. And so, being there, it was a complete culture shock and a complete change because I went from being in a place where everyone looked like me, they identified with the things I identified with, they had the same upbringing, so there was, not much tension. But going to this new space, I found that I was ostracized oftentimes. For example, when it came time to pick a partner or, create a group for a project, I would find myself always being the last person to be chosen. And, coming from my past schools, I had been told that I was this smart kid, so it just seemed odd to me. And so, as a kid trying to reason and figure out, why are these things happening, I came to the conclusion that the only thing that seemed to be different in all of these situations was my skin color, the fact that I was black. And, it was very troubling for me. It actually caused a growing sensitivity and aggression in me, not to the point where I would become violent, but I felt as though I always needed to defend myself whenever things would come about that I felt threatened my identity as a black person. And so, it just became very hard growing up. And so another example, I remember in the 8th grade, or around the 8th grade, when President Obama became our new president, it was in history class actually. My teacher had asked, what do you guys think about the new election? And so, this is a class of people, some who I definitely consider my friends, again, predominantly white students. She asked the question, and one of the students who I definitely thought was my friend had said, I wish Obama would go back to Africa with the rest of the monkeys. And it was such a specific statement, and I was just shocked. It was one of the more serious offenses that have happened pertaining to race. But I was so shocked because I didn't expect that, especially from someone who I felt was close to me. And even more than being hurt, it was sad because I felt more embarrassed because he was speaking about a person who I personally identify with. And so it just, it really shook me to the core. So, continuing to grow up, I wanted to figure out a way, as I'm trying to reason through these things, how can I make it so that, I'm not always the one who's affected? How can I make it so that my race and who I am isn't something that's a detriment to me, but something that can allow me to grow and be an asset in society's eyes. So I basically chose that I wanted to use a different approach. So I wanted to uplift people and celebrate people's differences rather than trying to tear them down or treat them as though their differences were something that are negative. So when I came to college, I definitely got involved with different communities and just tried to create or help with different organizations that tried to create programs that helped uplift people like myself or people who you wouldn't even commonly view as being diverse. So when I got the opportunity to become an ambassador, I saw it as essential because this is a perfect way for me to help share my knowledge with others about the importance of why we need different people in different places, because until you learn to appreciate yourself, you can never truly learn to appreciate others. And so that's basically what the message that I want to get across to other people.